it's working. Okay, it says I am live. I need to check this for myself just to see if that is true. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see if that's true. Am I live right now? It says I am. Let's check and make sure. Sorry, guys. I hope whoever's paying attention to this just gives it a quick second. It looks like I am. It looks like I am. All right. Let's make sure I can hear. Everything's okay? All right. Cool deal. We are in, guys. We are in. I'm going to put this right here just to make sure I don't have anything going wrong. I can check it out at all times. Let's see. There we go. All right. Hey, guys. Welcome. It's going to be the first time we're doing this live. In the future, we're going to be a lot more orderly. It's going to be a lot more fluid. But, guys, welcome to the DC Weekly Roundup. I don't think that's going to be the official name for this, but I don't have an official name for this right now. And so that's what we're calling it. Until then, welcome back. This is going to be maybe about an hour-long show. I hope you guys will enjoy it. And, let's get into it, guys. Really cool stuff ahead, for DC. A lot of cool things heading our way. And the first thing I want to talk about is something that I haven't mentioned, I don't believe, last time. And I just think it'd be fun to show you guys, to let you know about it, because I've signed up for it. Now, I think the reality is that the majority of the time we're going to find out things way before this lets us know. We're going to find out things through Twitter, through whatever. But DC Studios Fan First Initiative, if you are interested, you can easily sign up for it. And they're supposed to, let you know about some things, maybe things you can buy, maybe things you can take part of. But they're supposed to let you know about these things, before, anybody else does. Now, like I said, I think you're going to find out about this stuff way before that because of, just because of X and everything else, and just because people are constantly trying to get leaks. But you never know. There could be some cool things that you could be the first to know, or maybe the first to be able to purchase if you're a part of this initiative. So it's free. All you got to do is, put your email address, your name, and all that information, and, you agree to the terms, and you submit, and you are done. So I just thought that would be cool. Something I thought would be cool to share with you guys. But without further ado, let's get into the conversations about movies in this discussion. And the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to movies is Supergirl. Now, we know, I mentioned this week, actually, I did a video on the parents who have been casted, and one of those parents being David Krumholtz. And I had mentioned that he had said something that I thought was really nice and really kind and appreciative of being part of the DC universe. And I didn't get to actually read what he had said. And so I kind of want to acknowledge that and just be gracious towards him and what he said. And basically, he just said, joining the DC universe is a mind-blowing privilege. Representing the symbol of hope in Supergirl as Zor-El is a personal triumph. My gratitude is overflowing. Which really does answer the question, one, which form of parents were they playing? I had always thought that it was going to be the Zor-Els. I don't think the Danvers are going to be a part of this story at all, actually. I don't think they're going to have any part of it. I'm not even sure if those parents will exist in the DCU. Because in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, there's a big part of the story that really deals with, how she survived, Krypton being destroyed. I think that's the best non-spoiler way to address that. And a lot of that deals with her parents. And so, I think it's going to be a really great role for him. I think it's going to be a really great role for the other actress who's playing the mother. And I just thought it was nice. It's like, show some gratitude to this opportunity that's been given to you. It seems like he's doing that. So just wanted to say best of wishes to David Krumholtz. Wishing you all the best. And I think it's really nice of you to send a heartwarming message like that. The next thing I want to talk about is a conversation that's been happening for a little bit, and it's going to allow me to talk about two different things dealing with it. The first off is, Josh Brolin was up for being casted, and, Josh Brolin was up to be casted for Hal Jordan, and he declined. He said, "Nah, I don't think that's for me. I don't want to do that." And of course, everyone played back to the jokes of him and Ryan Reynolds back when he was in Deadpool 2 and making jokes about that. But, supposedly he is still in talks with DC to play a character. And everyone, including myself, thinks that he would be a fantastic Deathstroke. And he was like, it would be perfect. It would be perfect. Now, of course, on Instagram, he had shared a picture of Darkseid, making everybody think that he was going to be Darkseid, but that was just because of the person who shared it. He's a well-known artist on Instagram, and, he was just showing off this thing that this person made for him. But I think there is a good inclination that he's going to be Deathstroke because they are working on a Deathstroke and Bane team up movie. Now, I think it would be exciting for Josh Brolin to play Deathstroke. I think he would be perfect. But I do have one concern, a little bit of a concern about this movie. And that is the writer who's writing this movie. Now, we all know that Marvel and DC operate completely differently. DC, the way that DC is going to be doing things now, at least from what James Gunn has said, is that they are going to work on a script, make sure the script is perfect, and then when they decide the script is perfect, that's when they are going to transition into actually, producing the film and making the film and bringing it to us. So I do understand there's a little bit of a difference because there has been well-known things that have been shared about Marvel shooting movies before the scripts were even finished. And so, Marvel's been really well known to have to do a lot of reshoots. And so I don't want to necessarily blame a writer for something that, is the fault of, Kevin Feige or the departments over at the MCU. But I have just, the more we've heard about Captain America, probably one of the biggest issues is that the story just hasn't worked, and they had to do a lot of reshoots to make it work. And they've taken all those reshoots, all those things, and it's going to be one of the shortest Marvel films ever made. Now, the movies may still come out fantastic, but I don't know, and maybe I should have looked this up before we did the show, but, was Matthew Orton the original writer? Did he have to come in and fix some of the issues with Captain America Brave New World? Because even if Captain America Brave New World is absolutely incredible, there was clearly issues, and were some of those issues dealt with him, or was it someone else? And the question is, we don't know, and, for a little while, we probably won't know. And so, I do understand things are different, but that is the one concern I do have with the person who's writing the film. But I, at the same time, I'll put a little bit at ease knowing and understanding that, he is going to have to make sure the script's good before James Gunn is willing to even let it be greenlit. Now, the question is does James Gunn have a good eye for scripts? I think he has a good eye for his scripts. I think he can write really good stories for himself. But can he spot good stories for other characters? I'm hoping so. I'm thinking so, but we're going to have to wait and see the truth of if that's true or not. But what about you guys? Are y'all concerned about the writer for this Deathstroke Bane team up movie? Do you think it's going to go well? Do you think, maybe the writer's questionable, but we trust James Gunn? Maybe the writer's not questionable, but maybe he just got dealt a bad hand at Marvel, and now we're going to really see him shine at DC. But either way, guys, maybe he's also the reason that Brave New World, if it is fantastic, maybe he's the only reason that it got that far and got to a really good place. But no matter what, I would be curious to hear what you guys think about this writer, about this possibility, and what do you think about Josh Brolin playing Deathstroke? I think it would be perfect casting, and I think it could be a cool way to set him up in one movie to make us think he's really awesome, and then turn around and let him be in like a Teen Titans movie where he's trying to kill a bunch of teenage kids. I think that'd be kind of cool, and I am excited about both possibilities. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, and let's see if I can pull this up without, I'm going to mute it, and I'm going to pull it back just to have something kind of cool to play in the background as we talk about it. I want to talk about the Batman Ninja versus the Justice Yakuza. Now, if you guys do not know, this movie is coming out super soon. This movie is actually going to be coming out. This will be one of the next DC Studio properties or projects that's going to be coming out. And I like the idea of us being able to support some DC movies and DC ventures that are going to be outside of the normal DCU, especially when it comes to things that are animated. Now, I'm a big animation fan, and one of the things that it's been a bummer, is that America has really struggled to keep up with, anime and all these other things, and I think that's talking about growing a fan base again and making the fan base survive past, old people. And I guess I'm on the realm of getting towards the old person. I'm in my 30s, early 30s, but still 30s. We want this to survive past us. We want kids to be really interested in these properties. And the best way to really get them into these properties is by getting them in the same way they're into anime, the same way they're into all these other things that are really growing in popularity nowadays, that are really destroying and really hurting comic books. And so I really hope in March 21st is when it's coming out, and I really hope it does really well, because I think it will encourage DC Studios to put more money into animation, not just for movies, but also for shows, which we'll get into the next story. Now, Clayface is, and actually, yeah, we'll talk about Clayface, and I'll bring it back to this. Because I've already mentioned Clayface, so we'll talk about Clayface real quick, but then I want to come back to what I was talking about just then. James Gunn reveals that the fate of Clayface and Creature Commandos may not be exactly, what we thought it could be. The reports of Clayface's death have been greatly exaggerated. He is quite mushy, though. So, people were wondering, did they kill Clayface? Like, how are they going to kill Clayface? They're about to do a movie about him. Doesn't that seem kind of weird? It's like, that's going to be his ending, is by playing, getting in a fight with Frankenstein and Rick Flag Sr. and, getting turned to mush? Is that really how he's going to die? And the answer is no. He's definitely going to make a comeback, and he's going to be around for a lot longer, which makes sense. And I don't, it's like, there would be no reason in killing him. And honestly, I think he would be a fun character to have in Creature Commandos Season 2, actually. And I mean, he would be considered a monster, right? And I think he would be a really fun character to have that would be different. And if he's already voiced by the same person who voices Dr. Phosphorus, it wouldn't be that difficult. It really wouldn't. It really would not be that difficult to have him make a comeback. So, hopefully we'll see him soon. But what did y'all think? Did you think that he was gonna? Did you think he was dead in Creature Commandos, or did you know he was alive? And is this the same Clayface that we're gonna see in the movie that will be coming out? I think so, but I want to get your opinion. Okay, so going back to what I was talking about with animation and wanting animation to do well, this is just something personal. I just wanted to bring it up because it was just something I've been reminded of a couple times. Now, if you want to watch a video I did recently, it was probably about maybe last week. I did a video last week of, me reacting to the Witcher animated film that's coming out on Netflix. And I was bringing up the fact that how much I wish that animation style was brought into the DC studios. That we could see some action and some animation styles that were like that, but with DC characters. Well, I just got done, and I'm not totally done. I'm like halfway through Castlevania, the Nocturne season of Castlevania, season 2, and it was just reminding me again of how much we need DC Studios to be used by that animation team, that animation studios to make some DC projects for us. And I just want animation to really thrive again in DC. DC was always known for their animation. And I have to admit, the Tomorrowverse did not do it for me completely. I have some of their movies on my shelf back here, but the Tomorrowverse did not do it for me as far as really what I wanted from DC and the quality of animation that I believe DC should have. And if they could work with someone like the team that does Castlevania and the Witcher movies and some of the other animation that they do, I think we could really see a new thriving, animation in DC again that I personally would love to watch and see. So that's just me putting it out into the ether that I want these things to come out again, and I just want to see DC animation thrive. And that would be a really good way to do it. I don't know what the deals are with Netflix and that company. I don't know if Netflix owns the rights to that company completely, that animation team. But if they don't, I think DC Studios should be, sending some messages their way and see what they could come up with. The next thing is more so a question. I am quite behind on Harley Quinn. The Harley Quinn animated series I am behind on. I am watching currently last season to try to catch up, and then I gotta watch Kite Man, and then I can watch the newest season of Harley Quinn. And I just want to ask a quick question to you guys, those who have watched Harley Quinn. Is the new season good? There's been some seasons that are definitely better than others, and the humor is, sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not. They definitely do some things where they get really hardcore into some of the violence, but that is just a part of the nature of the show. But, is that something that you guys, have been watching, keeping up with? Are you interested in Harley Quinn at all? The Harley Quinn show, has it felt off for you? Let me know in the comments down below or in the live stream if you are watching, because I'd be interested if it's something that you guys are interested in. And I've liked it so far this season. It hasn't, I don't think it's hit the mark that the first couple seasons were, but I've still enjoyed it enough, but I'm definitely taking my time with it. So, if that says anything about the quality, I don't know, but it's something I'm taking my time with, and I'm not necessarily rushing it. But now we got to get into video games. And games in general. Because there is going to be some board games, actually, that I'm just going to put in the game category that I'm going to talk about. in a little bit, but we got to get to the big story first, guys. There's a really big story that we have to talk about because it actually deals with the video games, DC video games that we love in a really big way, which is, let me go ahead and pull my screen so y'all can see this. Warner Brothers Games president David Haddad is leaving the company. Now, just so you know who this guy is, he's been around for about 13 years. You know, and honestly, maybe this will be a good way to break it down. I'll read what this guy wrote. He leaves a legacy. Studio expansion grew to 11 studios, acquiring Avalanche Software and Player First Games. Hit releases was Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat 11, and Multiverses to major success. I don't know about Multiverses. I don't know how big Multiverses has been, actually. It blew up at first, but I don't know if it's stayed. Franchise growth integrated gaming with WB's broader franchise strategy, boosting brand synergy. His leadership reshaped WB Games' industry presence. So, yeah, and this guy's definitely someone who, you know, he got caught out for not mentioning the Suicide Squad. You know, but he's saying it's an incredible game. That's his opinion for sure on Suicide Squad. But the question I have is this good or bad for Warner Brothers Games? Now, I think from my understanding, he came in at the end of Batman Arkham Knight. So he got some of the recognition for Arkham Knight, but he really didn't have anything to do with Arkham Knight. And since then, cool, he's acquired some games. You know, there was some major successes like Hogwarts Legacy and Mortal Kombat, which Mortal Kombat I think has such a vibrant fan base. It's going to be hard for that game not to be a big time success. But I think he definitely has brought a lot of issues as well. There was definitely a quality issues, in my opinion, with a lot of these games. There was a huge quality issue with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, in my opinion. There was a quality issue with Gotham Knights, in my opinion. And there was things where it kind of felt like maybe, I don't know how observant he was about these games and how they were being made. And, you know, one of the questions, personal question I have is Sweet Baby Inc. going to still be involved with Warner Brothers Games in the future? And personally, you know, any kind of group like that, I don't think is needed. It doesn't matter what political aisle they're on. Let the creators of the game make their game. And because it is hard to know what's a part of it and what's not. But I will say this. Anybody, you know, anybody that's had an issue with what's happened to Tim Drake in the comic books can lay direct blame on Gotham Knights, which was the Warner Brothers game. And if that was attributed by one of the writers of the game, or if that was attributed by Sweet Baby Inc. to show representation, it has literally destroyed the character of Tim Drake. It's just a fact that that character is almost unusable now. And no one knows what to do with him, and if they make a comic with him, it doesn't seem to do very well. Which is a shame because Tim Drake is one of my favorite Robin characters, but they literally deleted 30 years of history. And I remember playing the game and I'm like, where's Spoiler? Where's some of these characters? Why is there not moments like when we play Arkham where characters pop up and story beats pop up and different things happen and, you know, and there's hints to all these cool different things in the game. And then you realize, well, one of the reasons they probably didn't do that is because it didn't fit their narrative of the representation they wanted inside the game for someone like Tim Drake. And I think that's directly affected what happened in the comic books. So now that his leadership's gone and they bring in new leadership, will they make changes? Because that would be some of the changes that someone would make. If they think that something is interfering with their games and making people not want to buy their games, and fair or not, people have not wanted to buy certain games that are related to Sweet Baby Inc. and some of these other companies, you know, There's literally a website called DEI Detected that's all about looking over this stuff. So when a new president comes into Warner Brothers Games, are they gonna, bolster that, make it a much bigger deal, or are they gonna push it away? Are they gonna keep it where it's at? Those things could rapidly change the way things are done. Also, the split-second decisions. We could have had a Batman game starring Damian Wayne. And I don't know if y'all have seen some of the pictures of this game. It would have been amazing. It would have been amazing. We also had the chance to have a Superman game, and that got squashed. That got squashed because they pushed, and I'm guessing David Haddad pushed, they wanted live service games to be a part of the forefront instead of just making a really good quality game. And I don't know if y'all guys remember, but I remember when Arkham Knight came out, and they had all that extra gameplay and all those things. I spent double the cost of the game for the game to have all those extra things that came out throughout the year. And they could have done something like that with Superman, and I bet you they would have made more money with that than they would have made with Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. And so, anyway, guys, are y'all happy he's gone? Do you think that, his expansion of growing multiple studios, is that going to help us open the door to have more DC, games in the future? So how do y'all feel about him? Are y'all happy he's gone? Do you wish he stayed? Let me know in the comments down below. And what do you think the future is now for the future of DC, Warner Brother games? But also, what do you think their focus should be? Should they be taking away, some of the Sweet Baby Inc. and some of the council teams they get to help counsel their stuff? Should they just focus on telling good stories and not worry about, all the different things? Just tell a good story, make a good game, and if people find it represents them, it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't know, but let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about that. The next thing I want to hit on is something a little bit more fun. And I don't know if y'all have ever checked this out, but I told you guys that, there's things that I have, found out about like last second, didn't get to know about, and it was such a bummer because it's like, man, this would be really fun, and I wish I knew about this because I would have purchased this. I would have gotten this if, I would have had the opportunity to, And you always find about this stuff a little late, but there is a game called United. And it first came out was Marvel United, and now they have DC United, DC Superheroes United. And they had a crowdfunding thing, which I did support, and I don't know when I'll get the stuff for it, but it is basically like a cooperative game where you all come together and you have to, accomplish a certain goal. And with this box that will be coming out early that you'll be able to buy in retail when it does come out, it's going to be covering the Batman Hush storyline. And it's going to have all these different characters, and it's going to come with these miniatures where you get to play that character. You're going to get a set of cards that will give certain skills for that character. You'll get a couple locations. You'll pull them out on the table, and you and your friends can come together and play the game together. And you got the classic Batman suit with the blue and the gray. You got Huntress. You have Tim Drake Robin, something we just got done talking about. The cool 90s Tim Drake Robin. And you got Catwoman. They will all be playable characters. You'll have a dual mode character, so a character who can be either bad or good. Because if you remember the storyline of Hush, this comic book right here, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, you can, in that storyline, Superman is bad for a little bit because he's infected by Poison Ivy. So you're going to be able to do both bad and good with that character. And you're also going to have some villains. You're going to have Hush as a villain. And then they have 2 new versions of Harley Quinn and the Joker, with a couple extra cards, like a punchline card and as a henchman, and all these different really cool locations. And so this will be something that I'll be picking up because I'm really into the DC United. I've played a little bit of the Marvel. I need to get some friends to play with me. But if this is something you're interested in, it is supposed to be on shelves in the US and Canada in July. It is also going to be in the UK in September. And then all the other locations are going to come out around November. I know they do sell this in Brazil. And the crowdfunded thing was a part in Brazil. So I'm assuming when he talks about localized versions are also in the works and should come out around November. I'm guessing places like that is what they're talking about, and probably a few areas in Asia. So anyway, just curious, have you guys ever heard of this game? Is this something that you would be interested in playing? Just to give you an idea, I'm sorry, I think I need a drink of water. Just to give you an idea of what it looks like, real quick, I'm going to grab maybe a couple of them. I'll just to show you. They're not huge, but this is the Hulk right here for the Marvel one. You know, we're still waiting for the DC ones to come out. But they're like, you know, they're bigger than a normal miniature, but they're still small. They're not like, you know, they're not compared to like, as you can see, they don't compare to an action figure. But they're still really cool. I haven't painted mine yet. That's something that's one of the reasons I got into this idea, because I thought it'd be really cool to paint these. I did think they were going to be bigger. I thought they were going to be the size of like an amiibo. And they're not. They're quite a bit smaller. But they're still really cool. And that's the goal eventually, is I would like to paint these right here. But I don't know when I'll have the time or the money to paint figures, but it is available for those that are interested. Let me get a drink of water real quick. All right. All right. So, the next game I want to talk about is a game I wish I would have mentioned last week. Because I told you guys, like I said, you know, I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that get missed. Sorry. I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that get missed because, you know, people don't tell you about them. And you don't know about it until it's already done and passed. And yeah, partly because of sponsors. Now, like I said, I'm not sponsored by anybody because, you know, I definitely don't have the viewership at all to have that happen. Not totally against it, but, you know, definitely not at that level. Mainly just sharing this because it's like, I wish I would have known about it. Now, financially, I cannot be spending the money for this, but there is a Batman Gotham City Chronicles that was out during a campaign on GameFound that currently literally just ended. It ended January the 20th. And so if I would have mentioned this last week, you would have had a chance to purchase this. But I do believe, now, their social media is not great, and it needs to be better. I think the only thing I see that they really do keep up with and post on is Facebook. Monolith Board Games, if you're seeing this, you really need to be posting on X, so people like me and others can really share it, talk about it, and keep up with it. But, you know, it ended January the 20th, but from my understanding, these games, whenever they have the manager pledge, where you kind of wrap all your stuff up, you know, let it be known where you want things to be mailed to, people have an opportunity to support these games. And so, you know, if you were late to, you know, the crowdfunded part, it's already funded. So if you were late to that and you still want to get all this, I'm going to try to keep up with this, and I'm going to let you know when this goes on sale if you want to partake in this in the future. But basically, it's a Batman RPG role-playing game. It comes with a ton of different characters, and basically, from my understanding, you could literally play anyone. You can play Batman, you can play Commissioner Gordon, you can play the Joker, you can play just random henchmen. You could literally play anybody you want, traveling and experiencing the world of Gotham. And it's it's really cool. They got, clearly, I'm scrolling through, they got a ton of stuff. 127 miniatures, 18 battle maps, 14, I guess, big maps. You know, one big Gotham City map, one deck way cards, 3 dice sets, three dice trays, and I believe you can order extra stuff if you wanted to. I wish I could purchase this. I can't. I wish I could, but financially right now it would not be wise for me to, but I will keep up with it for you guys, and if this is something you guys would be interested in, I will make sure to let you know about this. And yeah, and I believe there's going to be more things. I don't think it's just going to be 127 characters. I think, for example, there's an all-in pledge, and I think that is going to give you, it's 199 pounds. I don't know what that would be in US dollars, but it's going to give you a lot of stuff. It's going to give you, it's going to give you a lot of stuff. So, anyway, just wanted to show you if you were interested. And yeah, now on to the next thing. Now, we have a lot of cool stuff heading our way for not just, you know, Superman the movie, but really we're making this a whole, almost feels like a holiday just for Superman. That's what it feels like personally to me. It feels like we are heading towards a fun holiday for Superman. And there's an initiative that they're doing at DC, and it was shared even by James Gunn. So they definitely want to make a big deal out of it. And that event is going to be called the Summer of Superman. And they're going to be coming out with a lot of cool stuff. You know, I don't know if I'm going to want to read everything. I've heard some warnings about someone like Dan Slott. But, you know, some people love him, some people hate him. I don't really know. I don't read a ton of Spider-Man. I always have love in my heart for Spider-Man, but I don't read a ton of Spider-Man comic books. But, and that's really what he's known for. But they're coming out with a special. Dan Slott, Joshua Williams, Mark Waid, and Jorge Jimenez are going to be doing a Summer of Superman special number 1. There's going to be, you know, a bunch of different comic books. Lex Luthor returns in oversized Superman number 25. Superman the World. You know, there's going to be Superman Good Guy Gang. It's going to be a new DC line of graphic novels for early readers. You know, there's going to be a ton, from my understanding, there's going to be a ton of different stories. They're going to have a Supergirl line that's going to be coming out. There's going to be a Connor Kent Superboy line. There's going to be, you know, I think they're going to be coming out with a Jonathan Kent line again. I would prefer the younger Jonathan Kent, but the one they have now, I believe they're going to be doing some stories with them. They may even be doing something with Crypto. So guys, there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff, you know, in the near future to keep up with when it comes to Superman. I definitely encourage you guys to check those things out. A lot of cool stories. I think Dan Slott is coming with his own run of Superman as well. So, I mean, they're going to be coming out with a lot of cool stuff. So, you know, if you are a comic book reader, this is definitely something for you to keep up with. Now, let's go ahead and transition into something else about comic books, which is this new event that's coming out, and it's going to be called We Are Yesterday. Now, I think everybody I've told and shown, I'm a huge fan of Mark Waid's World's Finest. And, you know, I do think Mark Waid has some issues, personal issues, but as far as telling stories, he does a really good job. And I don't believe he really puts his issues into that, mainly because I think it's part of his therapy, which, hey, if that's part of your therapy, man, it makes you feel good. Continue writing it because you do tell really good stories, especially DC stories. But the art, as you can see, is really good. You know, this was Dan Mora back when Dan Mora did the art. Now there's another person doing the art who does a great job as well, but I'm blinking on their name, and I'm not going to mess their name up. I would really love to interview them one day, maybe, if possible. I'd love to interview Dan Mora one day, if possible. But anyway, really good art, really good storytelling, and Mark Waid's also over Justice League Unlimited, where Dan Mora is now doing the art. and we'll talk about Justice League Unlimited in just a little while, actually. But they are working on a new event, and it's going to be the first event for the new line they're doing of DC All In, and it's going to be called We Are Yesterday. Now, I'm just going to go through this thread to kind of explain what this new event is about, and we will kind of read along and, discuss. But DC has announced a new event, We Are Yesterday. Mark Waid will headline the event. It will take place in Batman/Superman World's Finest, Justice League Unlimited, and the Batman/Superman World's Finest 2025 annual. And it's going to come out, it's going to start, it looks like April 16th. The Man of Steel and the Dark Knight will be hard pressed as it is to keep up with the psychic powers of DC's sinister Simian. But this time, there's something different, as if Grodd has knowledge of the future. And it remains to be seen what any of this has to do with the death of Darkseid. And so you'll have Justice League Unlimited, number 6, will be a part 2. And it'll come out April 23rd. And I don't want to necessarily... I'm not going to read the rest of it because I don't want to spoil anything. But, and then you'll have the annual coming out in April the 30th. So this will definitely be like a springtime event in April. So if this is something that you guys are interested in, honestly, it's the best art, World's Finest, and, Justice League Unlimited. They have the best stories right now that are just fun, just genuinely fun. There's one exception to that, and I'll talk about that in the comics. But has the best art, and right now it really has the most fun stories, for sure. And it's the thing that I gravitate to every week when it comes out. That's the thing that I'm the most excited to read. And so I'm sure that the event will be good. The event that Mark Waid just did, Absolute Power, it was fine. It was fine. It was a lot going on, and I think they could have really set up this new line a lot better in it. I think they could have had deeper themes in the story that could have set up. I think you could have easily made 6 issues out of that story and filled in some things with Darkseid that they did in the DC All-In issue. If you read the DC All-In issue, I think that issue would have been a lot more grounded and would have made a lot more sense if they would have tied that in better during Absolute Power 1 through 4. And I think they really crunched that story. And I think if they would have allowed at least 6 issues, they could have tied all the elements into the story that needed to be there, and really would have set up the future, the future, thing we're in now, which is DC All In. But they didn't do that, and I think that's a shame. But the Justice League Unlimited and the World's Finest are really fun stories, and what they're doing now with Apocalypse and everything has been really interesting. Like what Jeremy Adams just did and some of the other people, it's really cool. So I'm excited to see what this is about. So now, let's get into some of the comics. Now, I gotta bring up one that I messed up on last week and I did not mention. I said there was an exception to, World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited being my favorite stories. The New Gods by Ron V. And I'm blanking, I need to remember the artist's name, but Ron V, that story with New Gods has been really interesting. I've really enjoyed it. I think it's only been 2 issues, but I do think it gets a little deeper. So not only is it fun, but I think it's setting up a deeper world there that I think is going to be really enjoyable. Now, I can't speak on some of these because I am behind on a lot of comic books, guys. I have to admit, I'm quite behind. So some of this I'm going to have to trust you guys and see what y'all have read and what you like. But Detective Comics, I'm behind on. I haven't read it. I've actually heard that Tom Taylor's not doing a terrible job at Detective Comics. But I don't know. I've heard he's gone back and forth from being like super political to like just having fun and telling a really good story. And I've heard like each issue is different depending on where it's at. Green Arrow, I've heard, is really, really good. I'm behind since Absolute Power. I was reading the Absolute Power tie-ins. There's one more tie-in that I have to read, and then I'll read the other issues leading up to Green Arrow, and I'll be caught up on that. But I've heard it's excellent. I just haven't had a chance to read it. Superman was fun. The art was amazing. This issue, to me, felt a lot of like and then. But it did set up something really cool at the end, and the villain the new villain that he's going to fight looks really cool, and some of the elements are really cool that they're doing in Superman as a whole. But this issue to me did kind of feel like a little bit of actually maybe it was the issue before this. The issue before this felt a little bit more like and then. This issue to me was good, but it kind of got, I read them back to back, so that kind of affected my reading a little bit. Black Canary Best of the Best is also out. Have not watched it. When it comes to Tom King, I don't trust the man. I don't trust Tom King. I'm not into all the deconstruction. So I will wait until the story is done, and then I'll hear how it was, and then I will check it out. Tom King is a definitely wait and see, to wait and hear for me personally. And if I hear negative, I usually just stay away unless I just want to learn something from the terribleness. And the next thing I want to show is Justice League Unlimited. Justice League Unlimited number 3 is out, and it was another really fun issue. Just fun, man. And just the way he uses all the characters really makes sense. If they ever wanted to make a video game for Justice League, make like a Justice League Unlimited video game, which I think they totally should do, there would probably be no other person that I would call and hire to be, a helping hand and to help counsel that game than Mark Waid. Mark Waid just knows so many DC characters, and I just can't imagine how he's not a part of, someone who you pay to get counsel from for every single DC video game, DC event. Like, if you're going to do something big in DC, like, it would make sense to talk to Mark Waid just because he knows so much. He knows so much about these characters. It's absolutely crazy. Metamorpho has turned into a wait and see for me because I heard the first issue was bad. I have it. I just haven't read it yet. And Flash, I am super behind on Flash. I love Flash. I love Wally West Flash, but I am behind. I am Jeremy Adams behind. I enjoyed the Joshua Williamson run, but I am behind on Flash. I am behind. There's only so much one man can read, and right now I'm just behind, but I'm gonna get to it, and yeah. So, and then there's some DC horror. Power Girl, Absolute Wonder Woman is really good. I've really enjoyed what they've done with Absolute Wonder Woman, and it's just interesting to me how the writer of Absolute Wonder Woman is writing that character. For a character who, in this storyline, in this reality of DC, the absolute reality of DC, where, Wonder Woman has grown up in hell, she's a very, passive, calm person. And it's just interesting how they write her, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see the culmination and see her powers and how she uses her powers. And the world they were setting up was really, really, really cool. And Harley Quinn, I've heard some things about Harley Quinn. I think it was something about the butt, the butt comic, or it's like a special thing. So I don't know if this has anything to do with the Harley Quinn that people are not happy with. I have not read this. I don't know, but you'll have to tell me. There was one commenter on my videos that was not a fan of this Harley Quinn, so I'm just going to leave it to them to tell me if this was the Harley Quinn that they were telling about that just has not been very good. And also, supposedly, if you are interested, and this is something I've been reading currently to try to catch up with my Green Lantern, I've been reading Green Lantern World Journal. I've been reading the issues, but I've been reading the volume 2 part of the issues, trying to catch up to be, all in with DC, because Jeremy Adams has connected some of the stuff that I was reading from Jeremy Adams' run of Green Lantern. he has connected some of Philip Kennedy Johnson's stuff into it, and so I wanted to go back and read that so I was prepared for my future Green Lantern reading, and it's been really good. It's been really good. Philip Kennedy Johnson, this is my first really experience with Philip Kennedy Johnson, and it's made me want to go back and read some of his Superman stuff, and I'm excited to continue reading his Batman and Robin stuff. He's really good. I really like him. And that was it for this week. New comics. DC Horror Presents is out as well, if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, that is it. So guys, what did you pick up? I can't be picking up a lot of stuff right now. So usually I order stuff, or I may get it online and read it online. But what about you? What is something you're purchasing? Are you picking up comic books recently? Let me know. And the last thing I want to talk about comic books as a whole. I'm going to take another drink real quick, guys. Sorry if that's annoying to you guys. I think I'm starting to get a little bit of a cold. And so I think that's why my voice is starting to crack a little bit. And so I apologize for that, for those who get a little annoyed by that. But I saw this tweet, and I want to go back to it. It was a tweet that I bookmarked because I just thought it, was a good conversation starter. It was something cool to talk about before you kind of, start to wrap this up here. And it was saying about this guy named Converse Comics. I'll give him a follow because I bookmarked what he said. And I'm just going to read you guys what he said real quick. And Converse Comics said, "Put comics back in kids' faces." Back in the day, comics wasn't just at the comic book store, but regular grocery stores and gas stations. A massive disconnect with the comic book industry is with children. Write better stories, produce better art, and put comics everywhere. And I absolutely agree. We went to Walmart the other day, and I'm actually going to have to go to Walmart pretty soon because I got to get my groceries. And I got to get some other things done. But we want to go look. I like looking at the books. I like looking at the toys just to go see, reliving the experience of being a kid again. And because right now I'm not getting any DC multiverse stuff, even though I really want to, and I'll talk about that as we wrap things up in a little bit. But we walk through the area of electronics, and now they have all these mangas. And they have all the mangas you can buy, and they're all on this bookshelf. And we're walking through, and there's no DC stuff. There's no Marvel stuff. And, we did this, DC did this incredible line. And if you've seen these, DC Compact, I got a few of these. I want to get more. I love the DC Compact. Right now, my eyesight is still good enough. I'm wearing these glasses for the screens because they were starting to bother my eyes. But my eyesight is still good enough. I can open this book, clearly read it. You're getting $10. It's not, this book I really read through and really got into. And so I started opening up the binding a little bit. But for $10 to have this incredible art, really good paper, really was impressed by it. It's a deal. It's a deal breaker, a huge deal breaker. And you know where these aren't? They're not at Walmart. Why are these not at Walmart? Why are these not at Kroger? Why are these not at places that people go to every day to get things? Why are these not, I don't know if they're at GameStop, but I don't believe so. I've been to GameStop. I don't believe they're at GameStop. Why are these not everywhere where a nerd could possibly be to make sure they're buying this? Because, yeah, this is a $20 item for 6 issues. Maybe certain people don't want that. Maybe only true hardcore fans want something like that. Or an omnibus that costs, $100. That's ridiculous. There's cheaper ways to buy that, but that's another video for another day. But this is cheap, and this would be perfect. And this is a great story. And there's a lot of other issues to make kids fall in love with comics again. And those are also for another video for another day. But not putting these where they're available for people to buy is definitely an issue that DC and Marvel need to fix. I know Marvel has a version of this, it's a little bit more expensive, but I definitely would encourage these companies to do a little better, to work a little harder, to make sure that they have this available for people to buy who want to buy these. Because I'll even say this, I would buy these a lot more if I could go pick them up when I'm getting my groceries at Walmart. Every time I went to go get my groceries, every 2 weeks, I would make an excuse to buy one of these if I could. But because they're only $10. I could be like, baby, they're only $10. It's only $10. Can I get it, please? Oh, come on, baby. Let me get. And I would totally buy this. Again and again and again if it was available to me. But instead, I just put it in my Amazon list. On Amazon, I'm like, well, I'll get to it when I can. And young kids don't have Amazon lists. Parents have Amazon lists. So if you want kids reading and you want them back into comics, giving them cool stories to read is definitely important. And putting it where it's available to them is a great way to do it. Ran over. I had to get that off my chest. But what about you? What are things that you think that Marvel, DC, some of these indie companies need to do to get kids in love with comic books again? I have quite a few opinions. I'm just going to stick with that one right now. Let me know what you guys think down below. Now, I just want to wrap this up kind of quickly. I want to show you guys a couple things that I have found that if you guys are interested in, you can purchase if you want. There is a new Mondo figure. I don't believe I showed this last week. I don't believe. I might have. I don't know. But there's a new Mondo figure. Mondo had to deal with DC to do the Batman, the old school Batman animated series, to do figures for that series. And they have these really, really, really cool. Let me see if I can get myself out of the way. Oh, that'll have to do, I guess. But really cool designs. Really? Come on now. It's not letting me go to the next one. Okay. But really cool designs. I really dig the way they're looking. And, okay. And comes with a lot of different accessories for the character. He looks amazing. He looks incredible. I would love to get this, but it is definitely a whale item. When I say whale, it's someone who doesn't mind spending $260 for a really cool action figure. But if you got $260 to spend, this is a really cool item. I don't remember when they said it's on sale or if it's already on sale, but it's priced at $260, and there is an exclusive edition figure priced at $280, and it's limited to 1,500 units, so there's not going to be a lot of these. So if you are interested, I would definitely encourage you to check it out and see if you can grab one from Mondo. The next thing I want to share, it's just, check out Multiverse. If you're interested in figures or statues, DC, the Multiverse, the McFarlane toys, they're coming out with a lot of cool stuff. There's this Superman Blue that I would love to have. He looks incredible. There's a lot of cool things depending on what you're interested in. If you're interested in statues or if you're interested in figures, there's a Superwoman that my wife really likes. Really, really, really likes. But if you're interested in these things, I would definitely encourage you to check it out. I'm holding off on buying things right now, but man, what I would do to get me that Mr. Terrific. That Mr. Terrific is so cool. What I would do, man, I tell you what. So cool. So cool. But there's a lot of different things you can buy, and they're for pre-order right now. The Superman, Christopher Reeve Superman figure, man, that is awesome. That is awesome. Simon Bass Green Lantern. You got the Grid. The people out there, these two are the ones that I'm the most interested in. But I would love to have all my Green Lanterns and stuff. That'd be awesome as well. But those things are available to pre-order right now. And I don't have it with me right now. Let's see if I can just pull up the figures. Yep. Oh man, it's already sold out. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. I bet you though, if you go, there's, yeah, wow, they're sold out. The Guy Gardner, you can still get Captain Cold. So if you want Captain Cold, but these are like big versions of it. These aren't the small ones. So something's up with this. You should be able to get some more. These are like if you want to have multiple different versions of the same character, you should still be able to get the characters. I would suggest going on Amazon if you like Power Girl, Guy Gardner. If you like these characters right here, Captain Cold, Power Girl, or Guy Gardner, I suggest you go on Amazon and see if you can pick that up. You know, or Walmart. It should still be there. It still should be there. And I didn't check on anything with Target recently, but you know, always check your Target. Target has some exclusive things as well. But guys, that is it for the show. Let me know down in the comments for those, you know, who checked this out. For the 2 people that watched this whole time, hey, I appreciate it. I thank you guys for watching. And guys, you know, I'm going to leave it off with something that's happening today. And it's a video game show. It's a award show. And I want to, if you guys are really into video games and maybe you don't feel like the Game Awards, you know, the Game Awards that comes out, usually I think it's like in December, the Game Awards that comes out, you know, if you don't feel like, you know, you're happy with, you know, you get a little annoyed by the way they do things, a really cool guy, Stuttering Craig. If you don't know Stuttering Craig's been on YouTube forever. Has done all sorts of different things. It's been a part of a ton of things on YouTube. And, you know, his company got bought out by Rooster Teeth, I believe, back in the day. Screw Attack. He worked with Screw Attack, which I used to watch religiously. And he has a new channel called Side Scrollers, and they are doing a real Game Awards. It's coming out on Easter time at 8 p.m. and Central time at 7 p.m. And so if you're watching right now, or if you're watching, you know, this video in the future, if you want to check that out, I definitely encourage you to check it out, to watch it, and see what they have. And maybe next year, if you weren't aware of this, maybe next year you can actually be a part of voting for these things, because this is all, you either are a fan, or you cannot, if you're a journalist or someone, you cannot get free access to games. So if you're someone who doesn't get free access to games, or you are a fan, you can vote in this Game Award show that they're going to be airing tonight. And so you can see what the fans and the journalists who chose not to partake in free things given to them, you can check out what they said was the best game award, or what were the best games this year, and all the different awards they do. He has a little bit of a teaser, and so I'm going to play that off, and then we are going to end the stream. So guys, you know, much love to you guys. Thank you for those who checked this out. Let me know if you like this. Do you think we should go back to just doing more, just dropping weekly just videos? And maybe that's what I should be doing. But my purpose is to grow a community and to have fun with people and to talk about these things with people. And to me, doing it live just makes more sense for that. So for those who were watching, I appreciate you. For those who check this out later, thank you for watching this long. And without further ado, I'm going to play this trailer and we're going to sign off. So guys, whatever you're doing, wherever you're going, hope you're having a good one. Peace. Get over here!
Screw that Hollywood bullshit. This is for the fans. Welcome to the Real Game Awards.